More even, ever perfect. And everybody looking straight ahead.
Get away from my car.
Straight ahead, straight ahead.
Actually, internationally, I think our show is understood a lot differently than it is in the States. Our show, the entirety of our show is very tongue-in-cheek poke at soap operas and how camp it is and how huge it can be and how, I mean, it's practically visual bubblegum. I think that's really, really well understood in places like London, where everyone gets that that's what we're doing. Places like Paris or France really enjoy the neo-noir classic Americana feel and cinematography that we're pushing. And I think in those two cities specifically, the abstract of our show is much more well understood than it is in the States.
Cole, right here. Cole, this way, please.
Cole, this way, Dan.
One more, Cole. What are you wearing? Cole, one more this way. Cole, this way, please.
Thank you.
Whose shoes are those? Cole, this way. Yours.
Cole, right here, please.
Why do you look like Pinocchio?
Here we go.
Cole, one more this way. I was going for Geppetto. Cole, right here.
Cole, I need you right here.
I was at the Met Ball last week and Kate Moss was like, I love your show, I watch your show with my daughter, and I was like, great, you know? It's like, it's always crazy to see who watches the show and who gets invested in it, and I find that it's a lot of mother and daughters, they watch it together, which I understand. You have the older guys, you know, Luke and Skeet and Mark, and then you have, you know, our younger generation. For the younger girls to look up to, yeah.
Hey, one more shot in front. Kai, I think you're right.
Lily, this way. Can we get a shot of You're right. I think a good headshot on. Thank you.
Once we had all been cast, we sat down with the creative team and they explained. But the abstract was kind of a Twin Peaks. And after, you know, I'm a big Lynch fan myself, and after I had sat through Twin Peaks, I got the general idea of what was going to happen with our show. I think in terms of success, we never could have calculated the success, but I think we had definitely reduced risk in a way. We were using characters that were very well established and very well known. And we were reintroducing them in a much more realistic three-dimensional setting. And so in that way, we were already engaging a larger audience, but I think we were still taking a risk. Comic fans can be pretty volatile when we take content that's not like the original or that they knew. But the Archie fan base was wonderful and super accepting of us and what we were doing with the show and how we were turning it. So it's a privilege to think that people watch it and it's been successful. And here we are, season 3.
Anyone looking? And a beautiful headshot.
I don't know, I think I've heard a lot about mothers and daughters watching it together, but then I constantly get like middle-aged men coming up to me and being like, I watch it with my daughter too, and I think it's one of those shows that like the family can watch together and there's something for everyone.
And ladies together this way, please. One more.
Girls, this way, then
And ladies right here, please.
Ready to go? Yeah. Okay, cool. So you guys were gonna get
I was on a flight back home to Kansas, and there's this guy, you know, wearing a trucker hat and everything, and he bumps into me, and I'm like about to fall asleep. He goes, "Hey man, you're Reggie Mantle, right? From Riverdale." And like this guy's like 45 years old, and I'm like, "Yeah, man." He goes, "I knew it," and he like looks back at his wife. He goes, "I knew it. I told you. I told you." And she's like, "I am so sorry for my husband. I am so sorry." I thought that was pretty cool.
Please, just right down here to your left a little bit.
Guys, look at me, please.
Right down here, guys. You guys all right here? All right here?
Wait, your hand or?
Guys, right here.